Thank you for tuning in to another how-to by Taylor video. And today I'm going to be showing you real quickly how to replace the inside parts of a valve stem. Now this is a single where the hot and water is coming into this single one. I'm going to be actually showing you here in a moment how to change it when you have the hot and the cold separately. And one of them, when you turn it all the way off, is still dripping. It still drips, and it's because there's a little rubber gasket. There's a Teflon piece in here that this screws into, and then all the way back in there's a little rubber gasket that actually is spring loaded, and that is what stops the water. And when that little rubber gasket fails, you basically need to take this screw off, hold the handle, unscrew this with a screwdriver, and this piece will come out. And there's a nut on the top of this inside here where you can't see it on this, but this whole sleeve can come off, and you'll see little white, normally Teflon pieces inside this sleeve, and all the way in the back of that is a spring and a little rubber gasket. And I'm going to show you here in just a moment how you can take those parts apart and buy some new ones, put it in there, put everything back together, and that'll solve your dripping shower bathroom faucet. All right. Up using a small flathead screwdriver like this, and I was able to pry that little piece out. There's a little seat, a spring, and a rubber seat in there. And you've got to get both of those out. That's the spring. And that's the rubber gasket. Alright, so this is what came out of the inside of that valve, that old valve. Plate, spring, gasket. And this is the new spring and gasket and valve we're going to put in. First piece is to put in, take this spring with the tapered side up, mount that spring on top of it like this, and put that spring, the spring side in very carefully with a long tool right in that socket, that hole socket right there. Tricky, but I've got the spring in there and that rubber gasket in there. I had to do it with two screwdrivers. One where I threaded the gasket and the spring onto a screwdriver to feed it in, and the other screwdriver to hold it in place and kind of push it in there as I pulled the second screwdriver out. So that's pretty tricky. Probably the most difficult part of this. It's all downhill from here. You have to be careful when you pull this one out, the original, how it was oriented. I know this one had this stop over towards the right. So I'm going to put it in that way, and you'll see it has a little, kind of foot right here on this side of it, and on this side, this little tab, and those fit into slots on either side of this. So I'm going to put it in that way. Let me double check here. That feels about right. Now the spring is there, and that's what's gonna cut off the water, and so that's why it doesn't seed in all the way. That spring is causing it to jump out, and this is where you can be sure that it's connecting in the right place, right here, this little tab. So I know it's seated right. See, this has a D shape to it, flat on one side, and this also has that flat on one side. So you're going to line that up. There we go. Got that lined up. And finish with that. Put that cartridge back in. Everything just back in. As I was showing you, screwed this sleeve on, and on the back side you can see that sleeve right here screwed on, and you can kind of compare it to the other one to make sure that you have it screwed in where it needs to be. Then you simply put the knob back on and screw that. Don't over tighten that because this is all just nylon. Once that's tight, you can see we don't have any leak anymore, where before it was dripping out. Now we've got a good seal. Turn it off. Everything else will drain off the faucet. But now that little rubber seat, that spring, is pressed right against the metal and preventing the water flow. So we have no leak. All right, appreciate it. Thank you for watching. And it's another video, how to by Taylor. And this was repairing a leaky shower handle faucet. Thanks for watching.